What is this? Something. Oh, we got something newer. Um, I can schedule my live to switch to members only. Is that something that was just added? Couldn't I always do that? Give me 1 second. Let me. You know what? I need to refresh this. Refresh this and refresh this. So how's everybody doing today? You guys, I don't even know if I have any of these live streams. Um, can you help you boost your views? I don't need to boost it. I don't need help with that. But I think we're good. I got everything pinned at least. No, I don't. Still, I have those problems with the wires back here. I haven't put them up. If anybody was here during that live stream, it was a pretty interesting day. We got 18 people that are here. Make sure you guys hit the like button if you can. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Also in the chat, I just added a link for BTCC, which is a platform that I use for my leverage trading, which currently stands, at the ability to get a 10% deposit bonus if you specifically use my link. You can also get up to $10,055 worth of extra bonuses, and you can trade up to 40% lower trading fees, as well as being able to trade a 500x leverage if you wanted to, or all the way down to a 2x leverage if you wanted to. So feel free to check out that link. It's in the description and in the chat for you guys. So hit that like button and do everything you can to help out the channel and growth and all that stuff. But the crypto market looks interesting today. It's not necessarily the worst market we've ever seen, right? We've seen worse markets. Let me go ahead and refresh it. The current market is down by 1.27%, which is not crazy, right? We've seen the markets down 5% and 10% and even further than that overall. But a lot of things in the market, altcoin wise, are not really functioning or flowing the way that we all want it to. And maybe some people do want it this way, right? You want it to drop a little bit because you want to be able to buy some a little bit lower. Ethereum is down by 3.3%, and many others are down by more than what Bitcoin is. But Bitcoin's dominance, would be seemingly rising as you see the entire market that's down by more than what Bitcoin is down. It still, though, says that we're closer and closer to altcoin season. 67 out of 100, even though we haven't seen much movement in that Bitcoin dominance. I don't even know where to check Bitcoin dominance on here. Maybe it'll say it as I click into Bitcoin. It'll say what the dominance is. I'm pretty sure it's still close to the 60% area. I just don't know what it actually is. I could search it and figure that out somewhere else, but I would like if CoinMarketCap can tell me or know just where it is on CoinMarketCap, because it used to be up here and it used to be up here and now it's not up there. So um, yeah, a little weird. Maybe we can go here and maybe it'll show it. Bitcoin dominance. There we go. So indicators. Currently, Bitcoin's dominance is at 58%. Ethereum is at 12.7, and others are at 29%. So we want to see the others kind of creep up there and Ethereum creep up there versus Bitcoin being at where it is. Good morning. Good morning, blue collar trader. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Can you make a video on Chill Guy? I don't know what Chill Guy is. Is that a project? Is that a coin? Or is it chill and then you're just calling me guy? Um, I hope you are well. I'm doing pretty good. I can't complain. Can't complain at all. I'm still holding on to JASMY as my biggest bag, keeping everything crossed. Yeah, I mean, I think JASMY is a great play. I've said it time and time again. Like I believe that JASMY coin is going to be worth a lot more than people think. And some people will, most people in any position, not just JASMY coin, will kick something while it is down and continue to kick it and continue to kick it. And then when things skyrocket, they praise it, right? You see nothing but praise. You see nothing but positivity. You may have some negative comments here and there, but you fill the skies with butterflies and rainbows at that moment. And it's just interesting how fast people can give up on something just because it's negative for them at that moment, right? We talk about JASMY coin. It's a process, right? As JASMY coin was even available, let's say the first time I saw it when it was on Coinbase at a higher price, um, you have people that praise it at that point. Then it started to decrease and continue to decrease, and then people called it a rug pull. Um, so now we see it at the low levels, and when I talk about it constantly, they either mention the fact that they lost money at those times, or as it ran all the way up to 6 cents, they decided to get in on the FOMO or be the later half of the people that are getting in. And that's why you see the negativity you're seeing. It doesn't mean that you are going to see negativity throughout the entire thing. No, right? You have a opportunity to buy and lower to improve your position so that when you decide to um, when you do average in, you're lowering your cost basis, and then you can bring that to a level to where now you're profitable a lot sooner, and it looks a lot better. That's exactly what I did, right? Not necessarily to that extent, right, where it was 6 cents all the way down to 1.2 cents, but still from a level of 50% of a penny down to 30% of a penny, I was able to find an average inside at 40% of a penny, right? So I'm not at the lowest possible level that it ever has been, but I am at an insanely low level because I decided to average into it and give myself the ability to be profitable way early. And now, where we sit at 1.2 cents, I'm still profitable. Even though it ran all the way up to 5 cents, 6 cents, and then dropped back down to 1.2 cents, I am still profitable and I'm able to be patient. But then some people can't be patient or don't want to be patient because they're insanely negative on their position because they got caught in on the FOMO rather than getting in the times when things are down. It's crazy to me that people are more willing to buy during those times when things are exploding. If things are exploding or already have exploded, not saying that you won't see success in it, not saying that it won't run a lot further. It's just the likelihood of you being successful the entire time is highly unlikely because you're investing in a spot of FOMO. You're investing in something that is already at the peak for the moment. Not saying it's at the true peak, the total peak, but you now have to wait it out a lot longer. And when you wait it out, it's going to be negative more than it is positive. So that's all I'm trying to say. Um, I've been there, right? Where I invested at the top. But the difference maker between me and others is the fact that when I invest in at the top, I find an opportunity to buy in lower, to lower that cost basis, to make me profitable a lot sooner, right? That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's fairly simple. Guys, again, we have 39 people here. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Get me up to 20 likes. That's what my goal is for right now. And we'll cross this like bridge when we come to it. Thank you, whoever just hit the like button to get me up to 10 likes. I appreciate that. I'm still, I read that. Crypto market has been trash for 9 months straight. Yes, altcoins. Yeah, a lot of altcoins have been, I wouldn't call them trash. They just haven't moved as much as we expect in an altcoin season. And it's not altcoin season, right? We just want it to be altcoin season. Um, so, um, since they're not moving the way that we want them to, right? You see things like Bitcoin and the top cryptocurrencies that are moving, or newer cryptocurrencies that are moving. Um, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to see success. It just means that we just have to continue to be patient. I hate having to be this patient for this long, especially with how long the bear market has been into the bull market and into Bitcoin rising for such a long time. What was the end of 2023 that we saw Bitcoin start to rise, or was it the end of 2022? Let me check this, because I know it dropped down. At this point, everything's blending together. So at the end of 2022 is when things really started to pick up. So to be negative for, from January 2023 to, and then even see other things, if we do a comparison, to see other things like altcoins that were decreasing for this entire time, and then more recently have picked up in the beginning of like 2024, or sorry, in the beginning of 2025. So literally waiting, an entire year while Bitcoin's running, and altcoins are not making a move. So let me see if I can compare it. I know they did have the ability to easily do that. I think ADA was a good comparison, but it's not. Oh wait, there we go. I just saw it. So it's not going to give me a good look at it. I don't know why it wouldn't give me a good look at it. Is because the amount is too low. It's not even giving me. This is weird. So it used to have better comparisons, and now it's not comparing to anything. I think Solana was a decent mover. I think I can't say XRP. Yeah, it's not letting me compare anything. But basically, if I was to compare it, what would happen, what you would see is that during this time, things were very negative for everything. And then Bitcoin started to rise all the way up to through 2024, to the beginning of 2024. And that's when you started to see maybe a little bit of life in some altcoins, but not a lot of life. I would say probably more in 2025 is when you started seeing more life in some altcoins like an XRP, or sorry, not like an XRP, like a, um, geez, why can't I think of the names of things? Um, you haven't even seen things in AVAX. AVAX pretty much has seen a little bit of growth, but is nowhere near where that previous high was. But basically, Bitcoin was running, everything else wasn't. And now we have the opportunity to see many other things like a Ethereum make moves up to potentially and create a new all-time high, but not necessarily break out to the 8,000, the $10,000 level that we want to see. XRP at the $5 level, the $10 level. Even though this breakout still great, but to break out past the all-time high, that's something that we want to see in everything. Solana had a chance to break out and has broken out. It's down by 17% over the last 7 days, so look out for that. Dogecoin has broken out a little bit, but still hasn't even gotten close to what the previous highs are or were. But we're not seeing that major pickup that we want to see. So we're still waiting for altcoin season. I agree. They haven't been trash, but they haven't been great. It hasn't looked great in recent months, but I'm positive about it. The project looks insane, and I believe in it. Well, that's great to hear. I'm right there with you. You truly think crypto is going all-time high this year? I do. I do think that, right? With everything that's being developed, there's always a chance that we might not see um, anything happen, right? I'm not going to say that it's 100% out there that we're going to see an altcoin season. To me, it's 100%, right? I believe that we will see these things happen because of all of the things that are in development, all of the conversations, the massive utility bull run that's coming because of how we're going to utilize crypto, and it's going to get more and more aggressive as more and more things happen. Things like this, right? That I'm now starting to invest a lot of money into, and I will talk about it in a future video. GDLC. This is a Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF. This includes the top 5 largest cryptocurrencies, right? That's what it's tracking. Instead of just tracking Bitcoin and Ethereum, yes, you have a certain percentage of all of them, and I don't know exactly what the percentage is because it doesn't break it down here, but it should break it down in other places if I look at it. But the point about this is the fact that you're seeing it track the top 5 cryptocurrencies that are there. This is huge. Multi-crypto ETF, investing into the broader market. I will consistently invest into this until we get something that's even broader, right? That's investing heavily into a lot of things, not just the top 5 cryptos, right? I want to see something that maybe even have a little bit more risk, where less is going into Bitcoin and more is going into altcoins, or see an altcoin ETF that doesn't include Bitcoin but includes everything else in the market. So I'm going to be investing what is seemingly $10 per day in something like this. Now, it's not going to be on my Robinhood account because that's my dividend trading portfolio. I'm going to do this over in Fidelity, where I'm going to put it in a Roth IRA and let that grow and do whatever it's going to do. And then I'm going to consistently invest into that. But then I'll also add other ETFs. I'm right now investing into that and investing into the SPY. So I want to kind of supplement a little bit, where maybe every week I'm investing, because it's not going to let me do every day over there. It only lets me do weekly. So right now I'm investing $50 per week, $10 per day in Grayscale CoinDesk Crypto 5 ETF, and then also $50 per week in the SPY in my Roth IRA. I barely or rarely ever touch that or do anything with that Roth IRA. So now is going to be the ability to contribute towards that. So yeah, but anyways, that's great to see. But that's what I mean, right? Where crypto is definitely going to higher and higher levels, is going to be worth a lot more. In my opinion, right? I see many things not only hitting their all-time highs, but breaking through to being 2 to 3x their all-time highs, especially ones that have heavy utility. But again, that's just the way that I see it. I don't expect you guys to look at it the same way. You can look at it however you want to look at it and what you see within it and what risks you want to take. Know that throughout the process, as we hit certain prices, I have an exit plan to sell some of my positions to get prepared for the next bear market. However big that bear market is, I have it to be able to be prepared for that. So yes, I think crypto is going all-time high this year, overall and individual positions. I bought the FOMO back in 2020, 2021, when I got in. You're talking about JASMY, or you're talking about different positions? Okay, so you bought the FOMO back in 2020, 2021. That was when it was like just introduced on Coinbase and everything. It was at a high price, right? Hopefully you were able to average down if that was the case. Make dunking? What does that mean? Stonks are ripping. Are they? Are you saying stock? You're trying to say stocks or actually stonks? Um, Best moment was 9 months ago, nearly 10 months. Oh, you're talking about just the overall market and the way that things are moving and how everything really looked up. Yeah, I mean, definitely. But I always look at these situations, seeing the market decrease, seeing the market struggle. I look at these situations as opportunities. When I see, uh, Ethereum at $4,000, yes, that's way higher than the price that I have it, in my portfolio. So I'm not going to go ahead and buy more and increase my cost basis. um, but it is opportunity for people, especially people that are just getting into crypto or new to crypto in the last few months. You're seeing things that are rising. You're seeing new opportunities. You see things like BNB get to $1,000, but you don't have the opportunity to have that entry point, right? You want to enter the market. Where do you enter the market? And that's the toughest part when you see the market break out, when you see BNB hit $137 billion market cap versus the 30 or $40 billion market cap, and then getting to a $50 billion market cap. But as you see it grow, it gets harder and harder to find an entry point because you don't want to buy high and sell low. You want to buy low and sell high. So I understand where people are coming from, but the way that I look at it is these are opportunities. Solana got to a $280, $290 price point. If it did, then that means it has an opportunity to get there again, as so long the supply stays the same. Dogecoin, it got to a 30-cent price point, so being at 23 cents gives you an opportunity. It doesn't mean that you gain the same percentages as everybody else that bought at 5 cents and found a way to average down or average into whatever they had. Yeah, it's not that, but you still have an opportunity to gain more than what you would gain in the stock market. You have to look at it that way rather than looking at it with like, oh, I need to gain 500%. It's like you don't have the expectation of gaining 500% in the stock market, right? If you're investing into ETFs and stuff, if you invest into some random small cap position or business, then maybe you have an expectation of that. But I never have an expectation to make 500% in the stock market. My stock market gains are like if I make 30%, I'm happy. So why not look to make 30% in the crypto market? Why not look to make 50 or 100% in the crypto market? It's the same thing. Um, it's just a little bit more volatile, which gives you a higher percentage of gain of what you can have. And there's also a lot of opportunities still that haven't really broken out. I think ADA is a great play. Or sorry, ADA, I think also AVAX. I was going to say AVAX, but I said ADA. I think ADA is a great play. I think AVAX is a fantastic play. I think that's down to $30. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's down to about $31. If we look at the last 7 days, it's now down. While in the last day, we've seen it drop by 10%. It was up to a $35 price point, and now it's down to $31. So that's how quickly crypto can change and how quickly you can have an opportunity. October is coming. So let's look at October. Based on historical data, October is generally a strong month for crypto and particularly for Bitcoin, which has earned the nickname of Uptober for its historical gains. However, this trend is not guaranteed and can be affected by broader market conditions. Very true. October's historical performance, a strong record of gains since 2013. Bitcoin has historically delivered positive returns in October in 10 out of 12 years. That's really good. High average returns. Some analysts, uh, some analysts or analyzes show analyses analysis show Bitcoin's average October return exceeding 20% over the last decade. Bear market exceptions. The only two losing Octobers for Bitcoin since 2013 occurred during bear market years 2014 and 2018. October, and even in the more recent bull market, bear market. The more recent bear market, we haven't seen, I guess, a negative October, which is interesting. October often marks the end of a typical sluggish summer period for crypto, with many traders anticipating a rally in the fourth quarter. End of year momentum, so potential reasons for October trend. End of year momentum, October kicks off the fourth quarter, and investors, including institutions, often reposition their portfolios before the year's end, which can drive market activity. Institutional buying. Increase institutional involvement in crypto, with firms finalizing their year-end investment strategies, can lead to significant capital inflows. Psychological factors. The widespread anticipation of an October rally can create a self-fulfilling prophecy where increased buying activity drives up prices up. A shift from bearish September. Historically, September has been the weakest month for Bitcoin. Often ends a period of sideways trading, setting the stage for an October move. So, like, the way that I always look at this, right? I'm always struggling with things like this, because I think when you have something like that, it is a self-fulfilling prophecy where you see September as a negative month, so people make it a negative month. October is a positive month, so people make it a positive month. Like, that's how we've seen it historically. So then people are like, I just want to do that. It's the same thing that goes for trading, right? If you know that a resistance point can typically be a 15 moving average or a 200 EMA, then people will look at that 200 EMA as a strong support level or resistance level, and they will make a move based on that level alone, meaning that they are a part of that, and the reason why it's bouncing off of the 200 EMA. And then there's also the opposite side of it, to where you're like, we know that this is going to happen, so if we are truly predicting that this is going to happen, you're not going to have everybody that's buying. You're going to have people that buy beforehand, that buy in September. But then again, we're not seeing people that are buying September. We're seeing that people that are, selling and getting out of their positions and taking profit from their positions, and then maybe buying in October. So we'll see. We will see. It's interesting, though. I mean, that's what we can look for, but we're very, very close to October. So count the days, count the hours. Fourth quarter is around the corner. I think when my portfolio keeps going down and down day by day. Oh, what the hell? Trashtober incoming, my guys. I mean, it says it's Uptober. I wouldn't say Trashtober. But yeah, I mean, as long as, like, if you're leverage trading, that's where it becomes a little bit of an issue. If it's something to where you physically need the money, that also becomes an issue. But if you do not need the money, you can be patient, right? Patience is what gets you the most gains, right? Not saying that if you're patient in a completely trash position that you will receive tons of gains and be able to make life-changing amounts of money. No, I mean, there's always an opportunity to do so, but you have to be patient in something that you truly believe in, and for many reasons, as you look into the markets, as you look into the use cases, as you look into the FOMO and excitement. So hey, I'm right there with you. My portfolio keeps going down. I keep seeing things like XRP having a huge impact on my portfolio, and many other things that are out there as well. And it doesn't feel good. but I know there's light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't even know we were in a tunnel, but I know there's light at the end of it. Hi, Matt. Been curious to hear your thoughts on Solana. I'm a big fan of Solana. I like Solana. I know that um, you can look at it with the amount of transactions per second and say like, it could be heavily usable as the next um, currency, right? Um, I like Solana overall. I forget how much. I think I might have like 50, I want to say, which is not crazy. I could have had so much more. And I even made a video. I think it was, I don't know how many years at this point, when Solana was down to about $11. I made a video how many other people were saying Solana is dead and that it's over and that it's not going to survive and we're not going to see success within it. I said this is an opportunity to buy Solana, an opportunity to buy a lot. I did not have a lot of money, right? I could have bought 10 easily there. If I had as much money as I have now, as I did then, which I didn't and I wouldn't, I would have bought hundreds, maybe even thousands at those points. You're talking about $11 for a Solana. And even lower, I think it got to like $9. Single digits for Solana. And that's why people were concerned with it. And I was like, they have a ton of opportunity, a ton of life left in it. And it's going to get to the all-time high. It's going to get to the all-time high market cap, and it's going to break that. And guess what? It did it, right? I was right. I was happy. I'm happy that I'm right. I was happy that I was able to gather 5 at that moment. That's the only amount that I was able to get. But my cost basis is like $100+ on Solana. That's because I believe in how far that can go. It's not just going to go to where we're at now. I see thousands of dollars or $1,000 that this can get to. That's my kind of target for Solana. And currently sitting at $200, that would give me, or currently sitting at a $100 cost basis, that would give me a 10x from where my cost basis is, which is fantastic. I've averaged down ever since. Okay, that's good. On everything. That's very good. Let's hope. Let's hope. Need a house deposit. I mean, if you're, that's tough, right? I mean, if you have patience, right? Because if you have the ability, or if you need to use any type of money from your crypto gains or anything like that, if you physically need to use it, then patience, will not be your friend. Like you can't be patient at that moment. I mean, patience is always your friend, but you won't be able to utilize patience the way that you should in order to make as much money as you need to. Hopefully that makes sense. Um, I always hate when I have to use money that's invested. So whenever, like, if someone reaches out to me and is like, I'm in a world of trouble and I need help. I need $3,000 or something. I'm like, I in most of my money anytime that I get it that I don't need to use it and I don't budget for those things is tied up in investments. It's tied up in investments or tied up in places to where I need to hold it for taxes and I don't want to touch that stuff. Um, and it sucks when I do have to take money from any type of an investment. I I rarely do it. I could tell you that in the last 3 years, I haven't I've not done that, right? And I don't want to do it. And I tell people all the time, look, money's tied up in investments. I can't do anything. So, um, I'm trying to be as patient as possible, and I don't want to rush any situations. Now, if there is a dire situation where uh, somehow, some way, we need something, then yeah, of course, I'll take from it. But I don't ever want to have to do that. Ever want to push myself to say I need to use this money for something else. It would be great, right? and maybe that's the case with you, is like you need a house deposit, but it's not really needed. It's like you want a larger house deposit so you don't pay a lot in mortgage or anything like that. So um, yeah, you never know what October will bring us. That's very true. You don't. It could be negative. It could be um, very very positive, like the 10 out of 12 months that we've seen. Maybe JASMY to 20-25 cents at the end of October or beginning of November. I mean, that would be amazing, but I'm not pushing for that, right? I'm not saying that that has to happen, but I would love to see it. I'm looking for 10 to 20 cents by the end of this year. So if we can see it before that, that would be fantastic. Good morning, Matt. Are you buying any AI coins? I haven't bought any AI coins. Not recently. I think I might have some over in my Kraken portfolio, but I haven't bought or invested specifically AI, into the AI sector. So no. Let me check my Coinbase account to see if I have any AI positions, because there are positions or some projects. Why am I typing in the wrong thing? There are some projects that maybe even making those transitions over to um, AI or adding AI to it. Wow, my portfolio is down so much. I always hate looking at my portfolio on down days. We're talking about uh, today's returns being down $13,000 is insane. But I've seen it worse. I've seen it down 70,000, which is again bad. Let me see. So it doesn't look like I have really any AI positions in my possession. No. Nose is stuffed. All right, we got 63 people here, guys. If you can hit the like button, get me up to 30 likes, 35 likes, 40 likes, that would be amazing. If you haven't hit the like button yet, feel free to do so. It does help out with the channel and all that stuff there. I appreciate anybody that's here and anybody that has been commenting, or asking questions or anything like that. Be lucky if JASMY just gets to 6 cents at this point. It's already a 5x its current price. So, well, I mean, it already has been to that point, and that's in a time where the market hasn't really exploded. It was just a lot of money and a lot of interest and a lot of excitement was going into JASMY coin and that conversation. Um, but ever since then, you haven't seen many people that are talking about it. Right? I still talk about JASMY coin. I still like the project, and I will always like the project. Um, and I will talk about my position and where I invested, because I invested very, very low. But there are some people that saw the hype, not saying way too late, but some people that are out here and talking about cryptocurrency, and they invested into JASMY coin and bought a million or two JASMY coin at a higher priced level than that 50%, 40% of a penny level. Um, and now they're not talking about it as much because they're down 50% on what they decide to buy. Because if you buy at 2 cents and it comes down to 1 cent, you lost 50% of whatever you decide to buy. And if you bought 2 million of that at 2 cents, you spent $40,000 on on JASMY coin, which is now worth $20,000 for you. I spent 4,000, and I'm currently with my million at about $12,000. This year for show, 20 to 25 cents. Any thoughts on Swift? So I have 500,000 Swift. I like that play as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. I have already taken profit from it. as it went up to, what was it, 3 cents? Was it 3 cents that it went up to? Or was it a penny? What was the highest price that Swift went to? Currently ranked 422. It's at a 78 million dollar market cap with a 1.6 million dollars in volume. This is tradable on S tier exchanges. It is a fantastic play, in my opinion. The highest price that this got to in the last year was actually 4 cents. And at that point, 4.5 cents. And at that point, I decided to I decided to sell some of my position. And I was able to make a decent amount of money. I can't remember what my cost basis is on this. My cost basis um, is 60% of a penny, which I currently have 500,000 of that at 60% of a penny. And the current price and where it stands is about 80% of a penny. That's not too far away from my cost basis, which might give me more of a reason to buy more or something. Because if you look at what I decided to take from it, so I put in, where's that? This is up $1,000. So I put in about like $3,000, let's say. Might even been less, but I put in. Actually, let me add it up. I would say about 3,600, 3,700. I put in about $3,700. Let me go over here, bring this here. I decided to sell 100,000 Swift because I had 600,000 of it, and I took $4,574 worth of profit. Well, technically, it was my initial investment plus 1,000, maybe 1,000-ish dollars worth of profit. So it was a way of me getting my initial investment back while still having now $4,000 invested in there. So I could then put another $4,000 in there, or that $4,000 back, to get me 1 million of it. And then see that fully break out, because Swiftcoin, again, the supply that it has is 10 billion coins. So getting to a 10-cent price point is about $1 billion market cap. If we can see that get to a potential $10 billion market cap, it could be worth, or what I would have would be worth about $1 million. If I had 1 million and I put that 4,000 back in there. So, I mean, at this point, I would be reinvesting that money, or I can just sit on the 4,000 or 500,000 coins that I have now and just, see that through, because of the fact that I was able to take profit. And that's something that I typically live on, right? That's the hill that I live on, where I take profit from a play or take my initial investment so that I know I always have that and I've always gained from that position. Does that make sense? All right, let's see. Mm-hmm. Patience is key until you got to sell it back. Yeah. Yes. Prepare for the worst. Yes, you should always do that. Add context. Wife's had the house in the divorce. Oh, well, divorce is ugly all the time. You could say like, oh, you go through it, um, and I mean, you never know what situations are, but from what I've experienced and what I've seen, divorce is always ugly. Um, 1,000% of the time. It's been 4 years and 4 months since the last altcoin season in 2021. So patience is a joke at this point. I mean, patience is at its strongest level at this point. Typically, when it gets to these type of points where people are like, "I'm done with crypto. I need to make sure that crypto runs, or if it doesn't this year, then I'm getting out of it." That's the type of um, impatientness you want to, or you don't want to have, right? You don't want to be impatient. Um, and sometimes it takes, and being patient in the crypto market versus being patient in like the stock market is like night and day, right? Being patient in the crypto market can take 4 years. Being patient in the stock market, it might end up going like a year or two, maybe. At most, it would be 2 years. Most likely, what you would see is about a year or a year and a half, and then you're back to positive, or back to the break even, or even close to it. For crypto, you can be down for a very, very long time. If you bought at some of those high levels, let's say you bought AVAX at $100, and you're like, it's gonna get there eventually. We got a bear market, and eventually we'll get to all-time highs and break all-time highs. If you bought AVAX at $100 way back when, here, right? That was back in 2021. You would still be insanely negative here today, 4 years later. It's crazy. 4 years later, and you're still insanely negative. Not getting back up to those. And yes, you could average down throughout that entire time. We're talking about AVAX was at $9. So seeing it where it is here, you could have averaged down and had a lot, and then been able to profit in the end, or being able to profit here, being able to profit here. However, still, it shows you how down this market is compared to where it was in 2021. Dumb question. What is the mounted on the column over your left shoulder? What is mounted on the column? Oh, that's a lightsaber. Lightsaber. I said saber. Saber. From Disneyland. I got it made at Disneyland, which I've seen some ones that are online, which are a lot more. Was I even showing you guys my screen? I was talking about AVAX, and I don't think I was showing you guys my screen. But yeah, it's a lightsaber. That's what's there. I can like turn it on if I wanted to. It'll turn off eventually. But yeah, we got 87 people, or 86 people that are here. Hit the like button, get me up to 50 likes. I would appreciate that a lot. Always appreciate it. The power dollar cost averaging through the downturns, the ETFs coming on JASMY in October, and another Fed rate cut. The ETF JAV been bearish so far. Look at ETH, look at Doge. It's a complete joke. So look, you're talking about for ETFs, like you should see a major uptick for a lot of these ETFs. The only one that has had that type of uptick has been Bitcoin. Ethereum has jumped, and you could see the price of Ethereum. It got up to created a new all-time high, which is great. But I think people compare Bitcoin, I know people compare Bitcoin to gold. So when you look at Bitcoin, it's like investing into something that's going to, appreciate in value over time consistently. And it's about the scarcity, right? We don't know how much gold is here. We don't know how much, well, we do know how much Bitcoin is there. We just haven't mined it all, right? For Ethereum and XRP and Dogecoin, those are different, right? I think the value in ETFs doesn't come from single track positions besides Bitcoin. I think it comes from something like the strength will come from a lot of these all encompassing or multi crypto ETFs like the GL or GDLC that I was talking about, how I'm investing $50 per week into this play because it tracks 5 different cryptocurrencies, investing into more of the broader market. However, it's primarily invested into Bitcoin. The largest percentage is Bitcoin. I think it's like 80% or something. It might even be a little bit more. I don't know. I'll have to check exactly what it is. But the point is that majority of what's being invested in that is going into Bitcoin, but you also have other pieces that you can invest there, right? You're talking about having Ethereum, having XRP, having BNB or Solana or whatever the positions actually are. I forget what the 5 are. But this is where the strength comes from for ETFs and where it will be stronger with every multi crypto ETF. And they're looking to have more and more of these ETFs that are being launched and being accepted, which will be amazing to see some of the more, maybe like an altcoin ETF, and to have that fully tracked and fully backed, right? That's what I'm excited for. So ETFs haven't really been a joke per se, but if it's not Bitcoin that's compared to a gold, it doesn't make sense to just have a single ETF. I guess it's always great to have something out there, to have the ability to buy directly into those positions for traditionalists that don't want to have a Coinbase or don't want to have a Kraken or don't want to have a wallet. But then it's also great to have a broader market ETF that people can invest directly into the market. And if I said I want to follow the market exactly the way that it is, I would be looking at it with 58% into Bitcoin, 12 or 13% into Ethereum, and then 29% into altcoins. That's what I would be looking for to track the exact market and where things are. And once it comes to a point where Bitcoin's dominance decreases, it tracks the exact dominance of the market, right? Maybe a Bitcoin dominance ETF or crypto dominance ETF. That would be fantastic. I got some ideas for you, right? Whoever's launching these ETFs, right? I have some ideas. Crypto dominance ETF to track the exact dominance of different cryptocurrencies, investing into only the top 50 cryptocurrencies, but still treating it the same way. Where Bitcoin's dominance is 58%, Ethereum's 13%, maybe throw a good amount into XRP, whatever XRP's dominance is, and then just continue to kind of update that and be a part of that. Hit the like button. Yeah, we got 50 likes right now, so I appreciate you guys for doing that. Bro, all this crypto-ish gonna take a real hit real soon. I don't know how you don't see the signs. So I do understand where people are coming from, that we've seen these things that have happened before, and how Bitcoin is up to $100,000 and how everybody's counting it out. You got to understand that first, we haven't seen altcoin season yet. 2, we haven't seen how we're going to see, or not how, we haven't seen it be fully adopted and be fully usable. If that's the case, when we do see more all-encompassing ETFs, more adoption, more acceptance, which we are seeing already, more use in a large way when it comes to banks, it comes to just buying stuff with, The people that don't understand it believe that it's all going to come crashing down. And even if we do see that in the short term, it opens up doors and eyeballs and attention for opportunity to be a part of it in that short term, right? Um, for me, the bear market and how people have seen 90 to it was like 95%, then 90%, then 80, it was like 90% twice, then it was 80%, then it was 70% more recently. And I think that this bear market that comes up after altcoin season will be no more than 50%. I don't honestly don't believe it's going to get to 50% of a decrease because of how much acceptance is actually there and how many people are now holding for more of the long term in these ETFs. And we're talking about big institutions that are investing heavily into cryptocurrency and seeing the future of where this is going. I'm seeing the crypto market at a level of 10 plus $1 trillion, right? Maybe even more than that. But just giving you a something to look at and something to understand is that where we stand here today at a $4 trillion market cap, it does not matter because even in the height of the bear market, we will be $1 trillion minimum or maximum higher than I don't know if that minimum. Yeah, I guess that's minimum. We'll be $1 trillion higher than where we are here today, right? Because overall crypto gets to a $10 trillion market cap and we see max 50% decrease in the overall market, we're looking at a $5 trillion market cap. The crypto market's going to be worth a lot more than people think. And if you're not a fan of crypto, that's fine. You don't have to be a fan of crypto. But also not fully understanding it and saying that the market is going to crash and the market is going to burn. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people saying, I wish I would have invested into crypto. I wish I would have, listened to everybody that was out there rather than saying, oh, traditional media is telling me that crypto is still not worth it. Or Warren Buffett is telling me that crypto is still not worth it. So I'm excited to not only prove a lot of people wrong, which I won't go heavy on, but not only prove a lot of people wrong, but also see the success, the ultimate success of crypto because I have the patience to do so. Right? I can be patient. I want to be patient. And when we see that this whole thing fully materialize, I just can't wait for it. Not just Bitcoin getting to $100,000, which I'm not a big fan of Bitcoin anyways, but XRP getting to being worth trillions of dollars, Ethereum being worth over $1 trillion, seeing Solana worth hundreds of billions of dollars, maybe even a trillion as well. I'm excited for it. But yeah, I don't see that. Let me just go through. Been taking hits for months now, my guy. What are we talking about? You've been? Do you foresee us actually seeing a true altcoin season in the fourth quarter of this year? So, um, I do think we will see the start to an altcoin season at the end of this year. I do think that it will go into 2026 as we get into maybe a May timeframe. That's when we may see the downturn. Altcoin season will not last as long as what we would hope it to, because we want to see it last for a very, very long time. And it really all depends on the things that happen within this time frame, with things that happen within the end of 2025 and the fourth quarter and the first and second quarter of next year. The different things that go into development, the different things that get launched, the different conversations that happens, the different cases that happen, right? It really all depends on how strong and how long the altcoin season is going to be. It depends on those things. And I'm excited for the unknown, but I also have exit plans and profit taking during this time frame. So again, I'm excited for it. So do I foresee it? I'm not a fortune teller, but that's what I see. That's what I'm looking for. I agree. Swiftcoin is a good play, and it's still at a discount right now. Thanks for your thoughts on it, brother. No problem. Yeah, I think it's at a great play. Or a great price. I was just talking about how I could potentially put the money that I made from selling at the top, um, back in the play, and being able to get myself a million Swiftcoin. But I think I still have 500,000. I'm happy with that. Be careful when you buy your tokens. I hold JASMY on Coinbase and usually buys $10 at a time. I accidentally put $1,010 at 1.7 cents and it hit the buy button. Just be careful, people. Yeah, I mean, you got to be careful with a lot of these things. Also, if you're buying on Coinbase or you're buying on any platform like that, try to buy on the pro platform rather than buying on the try and buy on the pro platform rather than buying on the regular platform, whether it's crypto.com, Coinbase, Kraken, whatever it is, because you'll have a difference in the price, especially if things are running, right? So, um, yeah. Sorry, I meant ETF on ADA coming in October. Okay. I was going to say, I didn't hear of any Jasmine coin ETF. That would be amazing, but no. I don't think you have a market for that to where many people would want to um, even invest solely into Jasmine coin as a traditionalist. Most of those traditionalists are looking at the top cryptocurrencies. They want to invest in Solana, they want to invest in XRP, they want to invest in the Bitcoin and Ethereum, but not something like a Jasmine coin. You wouldn't have as much traction. But overall, market ETFs are going to be huge. BTC was my best buy. 2015, bought 4.2 BTC, held for so long, made a crap load on a $1,000 purchase. That's amazing. Well, how long did you hold? Did you hold all the way up to the $60 price point or to the $100,000 price point? I said $60, $60,000 price point or $100,000 price point. Or did you hold to, a lower level like 10,000 or $1,000? Look into Bitcoin Core 30. Just saying, weird times we're in. Buckle up. Um, ETFs ain't changed a lot. I think they have. They've definitely have, and people may not understand the little impact that it has. Most people, when something like an ETF or anything for that nature, any big news that happens, they expect the largest gains that you could possibly see. It's like everybody needs to flock to the crypto market. There's a lot of people that are just already invested into it and things are priced in. But those things tend to will have a little impact, but more of a solid impact. When you have um, ETFs, for example, when you have these ETFs that are out here um, allowing people to buy crypto for the long term that don't have access to cryptocurrency, um, they can now buy it without actually owning it in a way, right? And it feels like it's a lower price. It feels like it's more obtainable. It feels like no matter what, you're still gaining a percentage. It's at $50 or $100. That's more obtainable than $100,000. But you can still see the same percentage growth, which is fantastic. So it makes it more obtainable without having to worry about splits or anything, um, or reverse splits in any way. So it's little things here and there. One thing that happens that's arguably a big thing, but then it partners that up with this thing and this thing and this thing. And then ultimately everything comes together as a solid market, making the making the market stronger, making it more consistent in the gains. Um, and that's happening over time. But while we see these little things happening, as we are invested in these time frames, we are able to make so much more money in the long term because we're invested early into it. Sorry. A lot of these, oh, you just sold your Bitcoin this past January at $101,000. Congratulations on that. One, long-term capital gains, fantastic. Two, you made $400,000 from it. So again, congratulations. And I don't know what your next move is and whether you're investing into other plays or you're already invested into other plays or you're, putting that money into a long-term dividend account or something. But again, congratulations on that. There's some massive gains out there, and I'm so happy for you guys. I'm happy for you, Daniel, for the fact that you gained that much from it. And you were able to hold for such a long time through the ups and the downs. um, yeah, I don't know if you were able to even buy more because you went through. Tax was fairly low. I was gonna say the tax should have been low. You didn't have to pay taxes yet on it. You prepay taxes? Then you only do that for a business. You said you sold in January, so that would be for the tax would be for this year. Next January, altcoin season. That's what you're saying. I think the powers that be don't want this bull run to take off. I mean, they can try and hold it back all they want. They're not going to be able to. I'm looking for a 10 to 20x on Pepe. You think it can run higher? I think Pepe has a 10x in it. I don't know about a 20x, but it really all depends. Again, meme coins are tough because when you're looking for some of these um when you're looking for some of these uh plays that can break out 100x or whatever, all of this is based on price point. All of this is based on what price people believe it's going to get to, and that's the price that a lot of people end up selling at. It's more of the thinking of what are people going to do, and I do that all the time where I'm wondering what the next person is going to do so that I can make a move. Um, and for meme coins, it's a lot stronger. Where Dogecoin at a level of $1 is a strong, strong, strong selling point, and I wouldn't be surprised if it completely sells off from there. Um, but even the build up to that, even up to 70 and 80 cents and breaking the all-time high could also be a significant point to where people sell. So be very, very careful on investing into meme coins and finding a place to take your profit or your initial investment early so that you don't get stuck in holding something that you thought was going to get to a $2 price point when it only got to $1.50. And then now you're sitting there kind of holding your bag again over a bear market, hoping that this this meme coin survives the bear market. Today is the last dip tomorrow. Wait. Today is the last dip tomorrow and until 5:10 up only. I don't know about that. Markets go down more than they go up. Not saying like overall amount, but just the amount of days. I'm kind of cold. You know what I realized? So I was putting in a Nest thermostat, right? Was yeah, the Nest version or Gen 3 or something. We had the Gen 1 for the longest time. So I decided to change out the Gen 1 to the latest gen. It was like the fourth gen or something. And I made a mistake by removing all of the wires without taking a picture of what places they're going in, the wires are going in. And now I feel like I I have a wire that's in the wrong spot and it's not triggering the heat, um, which sucks because it's starting to get to colder months, meaning that we're going to need the heat. Because I tried to pump up the heat to like 80, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, right? I tried to pump it up just to see if the vent would pump out like warm air or hot air, and it was all cold. So I think and it said it was going to take 2 hours to do that, and I was like, this is not working. So I need to figure it out. I can either figure it out for myself or I can call somebody to figure it out. But I feel like calling somebody to come and figure this out is it's just wasting money because they're coming out here and then they're going to change one wire and then they're going to leave and they're going to charge me like $100+ to come out here to just change one wire. I don't know what that wire is, so I don't know. We'll see. I might have to look something up and because I knew for the most part what to put where, but then there was a couple of wires for what my system wiring is that looked weird compared to what I've seen in the past. So that's where I had my issue. And if I would have hooked it up the same way as the old thermostat, it would have worked. But you're supposed to take a picture of what is in where, and I didn't take that picture. And I was hoping that I had one of those pictures from like the previous time where I installed it, which I could still have it. Actually, it might be in my older phone gallery. I'll have to check that because I have a lot of pictures from different phones. I've chosen to de-risk going into October. If Japan um, raises interest rates, then a crash may happen to all markets. You chose to de-risk going into October. Isn't October one of the most bullish months you can have in cryptocurrency, Gavin? I mean, from what I've seen, I mean, yes, you could see the opposite just based on people that are like they're expecting it. But if you have one of the bullish months that's out there, and you're looking at 80%, 90% bullishness over the last 12 years or something, I'm gonna side with it being bullish. You know what I mean? I respect your decision though. I'm not gonna tell you it's the wrong decision. I just wouldn't make it that way. But I'm just gonna continue to hold. I really want XRP to get up to that $5 level because that's my first point of taking profit is $5. Um, so I really wanted to run. I really wanted to get to that level so that I can actually take some profit, and no matter what happens in the entire market, like in any of my other positions, I would be profitable overall in my portfolio realized, which is great. CRO down 50% from the highs. what is the shit, bro? Um, yeah, I mean, you tend to see you see that reaction to what the news was, and then you don't see the market breakout overall, so it ends up playing catch up to the market in a large way. And I think CRO is down to like 20 cents, which is fantastic for people that wanted to buy while it was at 30 cents. But for anybody that either bought at 20 cents or bought at 25 cents or something like that, you're down on your play, right? Or the people that just want to see it continue to run, because it should continue to run to 50, to $1, to a lot further of levels. Like, we want to be able to take profit from that as well. And where CRO is, the more time that we wait, and the more time that there is out there for where it is, it's actually down to 19 cents. The more supply that can be added, right? Because you have that 100 billion supply, 34 billion that's out there in circulating supply. I don't want to see any more supply being added, because I know a $35 billion market cap is fully obtainable, can easily happen. $100 billion market cap starts getting questioned, right? I think it can still get to $100 billion market cap. It's just, it starts to get, you start to question it a lot. Tired. Wake up too early. All right, we got about 6 minutes to this live stream, and then we're gonna get out of here. Getting a tech out to your home will be at least 200, Matt. No, I mean, it's not that much. I've had somebody come out for HVAC, and it wasn't that much. I mean, just to come out, it wasn't a lot. And typically those things, they'll say, yeah, we'll just charge you the fee of coming out, because it's not that serious of a thing where you're literally just taking that out and changing a wire. So I've had techs come out, and it was no more than 100. Yeah, it was no more than $140, and that was with doing something. It depends what company I use as well. But also, I haven't had a tech come out in, I don't know, 5 years. I've typically done everything myself, and there hasn't been any major issues. So if there's a major issue, then yeah. Feels like we're about to go into a bear market, because CRO only pumps at the end of the cycle. That's not true. I mean, it pumped. It even pumped in the, I would, no, not really truly pumped, but in more of a bear market. I believe in the middle of it, we saw it jump from like a 30-cent price point up to a 50-cent price point, but then fall, and then just continue to fall and kept falling. It didn't stop falling. What's your input on spell token? I don't have spell token. I've seen people mention it and talk about it. I don't want to say anything is not a good play at all. I think I've seen some potential in that as well, but I don't have it. So I don't want to say, oh, it's the next best thing, and I don't physically have it. How's it the next best thing if I don't own it? Brother, we have been on bear market for at least 9 months now. I mean, we've had bearish momentum, yeah, but I don't think it's a bear market. Overall, if we're looking at the market as a whole, or backed up with like a 100,000-foot view, we can see that we're not in a bear market. However, it definitely is bearish what we've seen recently, more recently in the last few months, for many things. I wonder how Aster's doing. I talked about that yesterday, because I know Aster was seeing a lot of gains. Is this that? I don't know if that's that. I'm gonna type it in. So Aster is currently, in the last day, Aster is currently down about 14.5% at a $3.34 billion market cap. It has 1.65 billion in circulating supply. I only have a problem with that supply. Like I don't like the supply. I don't like what's offered. I also don't know what the allocation schedule is or distribution schedule is. Um, so yeah, there's 71,000 holders though. A lot of people that see positivity in this. I talked about it yesterday, but I gave my doubts and why I don't own it and won't own it. Um, but yeah, it's something that has ran quite a bit. I think it was like 2,000% or something. 300 in the last 7 days. In the last month, it's up 2,300%. So, congratulations for the people that made a lot of money with this. Hopefully, you had the ability to take some profit. Not saying that doesn't mean you have to take all your profit, but just take some. I've people mentioned this to me before this time frame, and yes, I could have bought some. I just never know how things are going to break out and if they're going to be worth, what people say they're going to be worth, right? So with a lot of the inside information that I could have, um, about cryptocurrencies and stuff and different things that are going to be launched, um, and what the potential could be of that, it's still only a guess, right? It's not necessarily, hey, this is going to. I've seen so many people that have said, hey, this is going to be a major play and it's about to launch, and it ends up not being that, right? It ends up being something that's either flat or consistently negative or whatever. My BlackRock blockchain creators ETF is up 53% in like 3 months. That's what I'm saying. These ETFs can be insane, right? I have one ETF that, well, is it an ETF? Yeah, I have one ETF that I bought when the Bitcoin ETF ran. It's up by like 50 something percent. And we're talking about just a standard ETF that I'm invested into the stock. But yes, it is Bitcoin tracking. Um, but it's fantastic to see that level of growth in an ETF, which you don't typically see, in the markets. Anyways, guys, it is 7 o'clock. Guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more of these videos. Also, make sure you check out some of the links down below. If you guys want to check out my link for BTCC, that link is in the chat. And you guys can trade up to a 500x leverage over there. Also, you can get a 10% deposit bonus when you use my link. Extra bonuses up to $10,055 if you're over on X or over on Kick or over on Twitch. You seem sleepy for. I am pretty tired. Um, but yeah, if you're over on X, if you're over on Twitch or Kick, the link should be in the chat or in the comment section for X. And yeah, you guys can sign up for BTCC. It's a great platform. And yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hopefully your investments go well. Hopefully things completely turn over and we see everything start to break out to massive levels. But we're still in September, so